Hey everybody, Stuff I Heard podcast. Here we go. Hey, and good morning. Today happens to be Saturday, the 26th of October. I made little notes, but I forgot to flip it over. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in and being a part of the podcast. I appreciate every one of you. There's always 1,000 things going on, but I don't really know what to talk about until it's time to go. So I literally got up this morning at 4:30 because I'm insane. No, actually, here's the thing. I got up yesterday at like 3 a.m., went and worked a full day, came home and didn't really have anything to do. I mean, I had things to do, but I didn't have things to do. I got up at a fairly decent hour and I was able to run some errands. During the week, I tried to sand a piece of black walnut that I purchased to make a new table out of, and it's a big piece. I actually took a tape measure to it. It's a little over 5 feet long, and it's 2 feet wide at the widest part, and about 17 inches at the narrowest part. It's a pretty impressive piece of wood, but it bows. It's got like a bow in the center of it, and it kind of came up to a cracking peak right in the center. Peak like P-E-A-K, like not like Josh Peak. Anyway. Different peak. So I had a day this week where the weather was nice and I had some time, and I took an angle grinder with a flat disc to it and I just started grinding it. Now the grinder that I was using, I bought at Harbor Freight earlier this year. It's a cheap one. It's the cheapest one they sell. It's the one that's advertised on sale at $15. It's a 5 amp grinder, which can do the job for most people for small jobs. Okay, 5 amps isn't a lot, but it's enough to kind of general purpose use, anyway, light jobs. Well, I've been using the crap out of these things. I mean, if you guys have been watching anything I've been doing with the wood furniture, I've taken off bark with this thing. I have shaped edges with this thing. I've done a lot of work with this thing. And I got to working on this black walnut, and the thing just started gumming up and started having problems. And I was like, okay, what's wrong here? So I took I thought my first thought was, okay, this walnut is definitely more dense than the cedar. So this dust has probably gotten in the gears here. I just need to blow it out. So I took an air compressor and I blew out the insides. And I went back to start grinding again, and it just didn't. It seemed like it was like a gear missing. It just didn't want to go. And so I was like, all right, what's going on here? I sprayed a little WD-40 around the moving parts because I thought maybe this stuff's gotten in the little section that's supposed to spin around. And all I could picture in my head was like maybe bearings or some type of connection where a thing is supposed to spin and there's just stuff gummed up where it's supposed to spin. So I sprayed some WD-40 in there and still nothing. You turn it on and it made a weird sound. It just didn't quite spin fast enough. When you went to put pressure onto whatever you're grinding, it would just stop. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with this thing? And then it just went, and I was like, okay, that's not a good sound. And it wouldn't come back on. I tinkered around with it. I did open it up to see if I could see what's going on. It just looks like it's fried. I think I got all the goodies I'm going to get out of a $15 grinder. I think I used it until it just bit the dust. So, rest in peace, grinder. You were good. I used the crap out of you, and I apologize for destroying you the way I did. Yeah. So, anyway, my thought was, hey, let me see if I get a replacement. I'll go back to Harbor Freight and give you another $15 one, because that seemed to work pretty okay. And then I got to doing the math in my head, and I thought, I just bought this thing, like, I don't know, what was it, March, maybe? I bought it in March, and we're in October. That's, April, May, June, July, September, August, September, October. That's 7 months. And that's in 7 months. $15 for 7 months, I guess, isn't terrible. But during the process of doing all this, I've noticed that it just didn't quite have enough zhuzh, I guess you'd say. Is that a term? Zhuzh? Enough power to really make a difference in what I was doing. I mean, it really didn't feel like it was grinding that much off. And I thought, okay, well, I got to up my game a little bit. I bet there's better ones that they sell And it just so happens that when you buy stuff from them and you enter your email address, you get ads. So I got an ad, and it's like the gods were aligning, and saying, "Hey man, heard you were looking for a grinder. Here's some on sale." And they show you like a scale, like good, better, best. They have 3 different versions of the ones they sell. The good was the one that I had before. It's a 5 amp, and it was $15. The better was a brand called Bauer. It's one they carry. It was 7 amps, and it was like, I want to say it was like $35 or $39, something like that. And then the best one is a brand they have called Hercules, and the Hercules was marked down to 69. And I was like, oh, okay, 69. That's not terrible. It was 11 amps, and I was like, okay, that's more than double the power and speed of what I was using before. So that should definitely hold up longer. Of course, then I'm looking at it and I'm going, is it the power that I need, or is it just a better brand that I need? Maybe it's the brand itself that, maybe it matters if you go to like Lowe's or Home Depot and you get a Cobalt or a DeWalt or a Ryobi or whatever brand it is they have. Maybe the brand matters. Maybe if you upgrade to that kind of thing, it's like a big difference maker. So I thought, okay, well, how much is it worth to me? I mean, I've been doing a lot of work with this, and honestly, I bought the $15 one because I wasn't sure like how into this I was going to be. When I bought that thing, all I had was the one piece of slab that's now in the foyer that my wife confiscated as a foyer table. So I went to Lowe's to try and, to look and just see, what's the difference. So I go into Lowe's and I'm looking at the difference, and I try to find one of their more powerful ones, and I'm like, okay, what's relative to this 11 amp thing? And basically the one I found was a DeWalt, and it was $140. So it's twice the money for a different name badge on the outside. Now to me, a grinder is just, like I'm thinking in my brain, if I'm deconstructing this, it's an electric motor with some gears and a power thing. You can turn the power on, turns the gears, the electric motor, and it does its job. There's not a lot of moving parts there other than a trigger and the part that moves. That's it. Like, it's not like I'm trying to purchase different TVs or a different vehicle. This is a one button, one operation kind of thing. It doesn't make me coffee. It doesn't, simmer. It doesn't wash the dishes. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It just, you hit the button and a motor turns a gear. So twice the price, I just couldn't see myself doing that. So I was like, all right, well, I'm glad I saw that this is ridiculously priced. I'm going to go back to Home Depot. Not back, but I'm going to go to Home, because I didn't really go to Home Depot. So not Home Depot, Harbor Freight. So I went back to Harbor Freight, not back. I've already said that. And I picked up the 11 amp Hercules for $69. Now here's the thing, I went in there and they have a display at the end of the aisle. Okay, it says, on my email, it says 3-day sale, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come get it. I'm like, cool. I walk in the door, there's a display at the end of the aisle. Cool. And it's completely empty. There's a sign that says $69 and there's a big open spot. So I asked, I said, hey, you got any more of these like in the back, or is there a display somewhere? No, that was it. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, they were on clearance. I said, okay. Well, sale started today, right? He goes, yeah. I said, it's a 3-day sale. I said, yeah. I said, empty shelf. 3-day sale. Does anybody else see the problem with this? You don't have any? And he was like, hang on, let me look. So he looks on his little computer, and he's like, I don't know. He said, literally, that was one of the things they were running on sale, and it's gone. And I was like, well, crap. I mean, I came over here to get the thing, because, all right, well, I'm disappointed. Like, you guys run a sale, and day one, your shelf is empty. Like, no one thought about this ahead of time and thought, yeah, we did. He goes, no, they're clearance. He goes, that to us, what that means is we got some of this crap left over, and we need to get rid of it, so we're going to run it on clearance. And he goes, but it's $10 off what the normal one is, and the normal one's back there. And I was like, so you have some Hercules in stock? He goes, yeah. I was like, well, where are they at? So he pointed me in the right direction, and I went down there and looked at it. Sure enough, they're there, and and they're $10 more. I'm like, okay, well, $10, whatever. I mean, I'm already here, and I got this coupon. I said, I got this coupon on my phone that says 30% off. He goes, yeah, that's not for these. I was like, it doesn't say that. It just says 30% off anything over $30. He goes, yeah, but there's fine print. I was like, where? And if you zoom in, you can see little lines that are written, but you still can't read them because they're so small. Apparently, it says on there something like, you can take off this much if it's something that's not a name brand thing, because apparently Hercules is a name brand. And I was like, well, that's just misleading as all get out, dude. I mean, this is just stupid. And I was like, but what about these right here? This looks like the same doggone things. I picked one up and I looked at it and I said, how do you look at the serial number? So I opened up my email and I compared the serial number to what's there. And he's like, hang on a second. He grabbed it and he walked up front and he goes, yeah, these are 69. And I was like, so how? Whatever. This is the one I wanted, 69. Yeah, okay. Let's put it in the buggy. Just like, come on, man. Why you gotta make it so difficult? So anyway, long story short, I got the one I wanted. I brought it home. I didn't have time to use it yet. I just brought it home. And I said all that to say this. I still got home at a decent time. I still was able to lay down and take a nap. And with nobody here in the house, I was able to take a good nap. My wife got off work and immediately went to the gym. And she let me sleep. And I slept for 3 hours. Ugh. I'll tell you what, I felt so good when I got up. Because all day long, I don't know if it's the weather or if it's wind or what, or stress or what, but my left eye has been burning and blinking uncontrollably for a while, and I couldn't get it to stop. When I was younger, there was a time in my life when I worked several jobs at the same time. I used to work at McDonald's opening up as a maintenance guy. I would literally be there when they showed up to take out trash, mop floors, clean up outside, throw away boxes, compact boxes, that kind of stuff. And I'd work till about 11, and then I'd leave there and I'd go to work at the mall, where I went around to women's apparel stores. There was a bunch of them that were connected through management, like Lerner, Lane Bryant, Victoria's Secrets, The Limited, and nothing but ladies working in there, and really high ceilings. They didn't want to change light bulbs because they were afraid to climb the ladder. So they would pay me to come in and every day check all the light bulbs in the store, change light bulbs, and then take out the trash, because a lot of times they would get shipments in, they'd have boxes in the back, and they were really afraid to take it outside and put it in the dumpsters because there was some homeless people hanging around out there and drug dealers and whatnot. So I'd go and I'd take care of that. And listen, that job paid really decent, and I could work it kind of whenever I could. I tried to get by there at least once a day or once every other day, and they kind of gave me some freedom to do it, but it was an easy way to make some money on my own time. And then I'd go work at Red Lobster. I'd work in there and until about 11 o'clock at night or something like that. I don't know when I slept. See, that's the crazy thing, is I worked a crazy schedule all the time, and I didn't sleep much. And during that time, I also worked on the weekends from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at McLeod Hospital in their material services department. So on any given day, I'm working, 12 to 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, whatever it was. And I did that every day. And at the time, my right eye blinked nonstop, and I couldn't stop it from twitching. And so now my left eye is twitching like that, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm either wearing myself down or I've got some kind of allergy or something going on. But it's got to be wearing me down. I gotta rest more. So took that 3-hour nap, and it allowed me to then wake up and spend some time with my wife, and I ate a little bit of dinner. I grilled some bratwurst on the grill, and watched a few things on YouTube. So this is stuff I heard. So let's talk about the stuff I heard, because I did listen to some stuff this week. I started off with Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan Experience. Listened to episode 1366 with Richard Dawkins. Joe's talked in the past about how much he likes the guy and respects his work and that kind of stuff. And I couldn't get into it. He talked for about an hour. It's a very short podcast. Basically, Richard Dawkins is an atheist. He don't believe in anything. He thinks that science is everything, and he doesn't even want to consider the options that faith could be anything. And maybe that's why I just couldn't get into it. I was just like, yeah, sucks that you don't believe in anything, man. I mean, you would think being a man of science, you'd be open to possibilities of faith and God and not just dismissive. But, this guy's made a career out of being dismissive. He's written books, He's decided to build a hill that he'll die on. And this is it. Like, he's that guy. He can't all of a sudden be like, I may be wrong. Like, he's declared himself the atheist guy, and he's written books, and he's like, okay, whatever. So, I don't care. Wasn't really into that one. I did watch, or I did listen to episode 1367 with Bridget Phetasy, Phetasy. She's very interesting to listen to. She has a YouTube channel called Dumpster Fire, where I guess she does like a YouTube show. She's lived a very colorful life of drug addiction and partying, and she's been sober now for a while, and she talks about that openly, about how bad things got. And coming from an Irish Catholic family, she tried to get clean and sober, and they gave her a really hard time, and they tried to get her to go back to drinking because they were like, we like you better like this, what's wrong with you? It was an interesting perspective. She has a very colorful past. She's open about talking about it, and this month, while Joe and Ari and Tom and Bert are doing the Sober October, she's like, listen, I want to commend you. You guys are doing this, and like I'm literally bumping into people in public who are telling me they're also doing Sober October because of you guys. So it's good for you guys. I mean, thank you for doing that. Thank you for making it public and making it fun and getting people involved, and it's really cool. So I liked her voice. When I heard her voice, I thought immediately that she was the actress that's on Orange is the New Black. She plays Pennsatucky. She was also in Sons of Anarchy. She plays, I don't know what her character was on that, but very sort of rednecky, trash mouth, kind of talking addict. You can hear the addict in her voice. Real raspy from smoking and drinking real hard. But I looked her up online, and it's not her. She's actually very gorgeous. Looks like a model. Different lady altogether, though. So, then I listened to a podcast, Dr. Drew After Dark, episode 37, with Mark Norman. I first became aware of Mark Norman because of Bert. Bert took Mark Norman on the first leg of the tour last year, and Mark was in a lot of Bert's videos. He's been on his podcast before. He did Joe Rogan's podcast. Mark's a very colorful fellow. He talks openly about a lot of things growing up in New Orleans, growing up extremely poor in a bad part of town. Very interesting podcast. A lot of crazy stuff that happened in Mark's life growing up. But that was fun to listen to. Then I listened to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. He interviews a couple people from the show Supernatural. This guy, Jared Padalecki, Padaleki, Padalecki. He's one of the main characters on the show Supernatural, and that's on its last season, season 15. This guy Jared apparently was on Smallville during one season in the beginning, and him and Michael Rosenbaum became friends during that time. And then when they picked up this show, he was one of the main characters, and so they've continued to maintain a friendship. Michael interviewed him and Jensen Ackles, which is the other part of the duo of Supernatural. It's like two main guys. So he got to interview both of them. Both of them are very down to earth, very friendly, very honest, very fun to listen to. But also, like, I didn't watch the show, so I'm not really familiar with their characters. Although they're fun to listen to and friendly, it really didn't do anything for me. So But if you're into watching Supernatural, by far, check it out because you're probably going to be totally stoked that these guys sit down and have an interview. Okay, so after my 3-hour nap yesterday, and I was wide awake, I started watching YouTube. I checked out Your Mom's House. That's actually a channel, Your Mom's House. It's a podcast network that Christina Pazynski and Tom Segura have together. They're a married couple. They're both stand-up comedians. They both have specials on Netflix. Check them out. Christina Pazynski is doing a show with Leanne Kreischer, Bert Kreischer's wife, called So Over October. So while the guys are doing Sober October and they're going through their routine of not drinking and not doing drugs and trying to better their life, they're spending a lot of time away from home. They're spending a lot of time away from family because on top of them doing their job, which is stand-up comedy, whenever they have a free chance, they're also challenging each other with physical activities. So Leanne has a podcast called Wife of the Party, and Leanne and Christina now do this podcast for the month of October, So Over October. And they don't get sober. They actually have a glass of wine and they chat like gals, and they're buddies, they're friends. They've come up, their husbands have come up through comedy together, and by association they've become friends. And they're very friendly, they're very honest, they're very vocal about how the month is good for the guys to kind of readjust, and it's very good for community because lots of people come up to them and talk to them about how motivating it is and how it's changing their lives. But they're also it's also a huge strain on us because we have to pick up the pieces and sort of make everything happen when they're not here. But I watched episodes 3 and 4, and the 4th one says it's the finale for the month. So I may have to wait another year before they do another one, but it was really good. I enjoy listening to them talk. My wife says that she doesn't care for Christina's voice, which I don't know. I don't focus on that. I focus on what she's saying. But, she's from Hungary, so she has an accent. She's very, because of her upbringing, she's very blunt with a lot of things, which I like. Leanne Kreischer grew up in Bowden, Georgia. So she's very rednecky with some of the things she says, which I can relate to. She grew up not far from where I did. So anyway, then I also watched on YouTube 2 Bears, 1 Cave, episode 10. Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer do a podcast together, and they talked about different challenges that they're doing, which is pretty interesting. Tom talks about learning to fly a plane, learning to drive race cars. Bert's talked more about doing the what do you talk about? Spearfishing off the coast of Catalina. They're trying to book a jet ski tour from Long Beach to Catalina and then do spearfishing. They also have some new thing with phone numbers. Now, I don't know if this is a publicity stunt. I think it is. They're like, hey, here's my phone number. Give me a call and we'll be happy to text with you. This started last week on episode 9. They realized that Whitney Cummings was doing it. And they're like, what is she doing? And they're like, oh yeah, it's this new thing. We can reach out to the fans. But it's not really their phone number. It's a phone number through a service that when they log into it, they can communicate with fans when they want to. And when they don't, they can just log out. So you can't physically call them all the time and be like, hey buddy, what's up? To me, this is a phishing campaign. It is a way for celebrities, if they want to communicate with fans. And they talk about the fact that P. Diddy's on it, Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, J-Lo, I don't know who else. I think it's called Community. But you call this phone number, whatever phone number they post, and you'll hear a voicemail. Hey, this is me, I'll give you a message. Or you can text them, and every once in a while they'll text back. Whenever they decide to log into their app, they can text with you. And it's an interesting idea, but it's also, to me, it's a phishing thing because once they get their phone number, they can use your phone number for whatever. It's the same thing when you used to go to sporting events and they're like, here, sign up for this credit app and we'll give you a free t-shirt. Well, you're basically giving out your information. And we're all learning that information is everything. Like, once they can start monitoring you, they can keep up with everything. And I'm like, do I really want to give out my phone number to this random thing? I mean, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm into that. But hey, if you are, by all means, give it a shot. Let me know how it works out, because I'm kind of curious. I mean, it would be kind of cool to once in a while send Bert a message and be like, hey man, big fan, you know, be on my podcast. I ordered some new sound equipment and everything came in the mail, so I'm going to be changing this over a little bit to look a little different so that in the future I can have more people on. If you guys are watching the YouTube portion of this, the camera may cut off at any second, but I'm going to try and wrap it up here before it does. If it does, sorry, listen to the audio to finish it up. But anyway, I got some sound equipment here. I'm going to be changing this over a little bit. I got to go outside. I got to work on that extra piece of wood. I got to do some stuff different here. I want to like set it up so it looks cool too. I mean, I thought about doing something on this wall or maybe something behind the TV over there to kind of give it a different look aesthetically. See me using the big words? Huh? How about that? Yeah, buddy. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care. All Things Comedy Network. On YouTube, All Things Comedy, the Bill and Bert podcast. They did a 3-hour podcast where basically they sat around, Bert Kreischer and Bill Burr sat around smoking a cigar for 3 hours and just talking about life and comedy and bits, and it's a fun hang. I like both comedians a lot. I like both of them when they're in their natural hang kind of atmosphere. And you can see Bill and Bert's brains working all the time thinking of bits. And so they're kind of riffing things off of each other. It's literally one of those things that I could turn on and just like have in the background and catch little jokes that they're mentioning in passing. But it's fun. I like both of them. I mean, huge fan. That's it. I'm going to wrap up. You guys take care. Have a wonderful Saturday or whatever day you're listening to this. God bless you. Thank you for checking in. And hey, appreciate all the comments and the support. Trying to build community here. So if you want to be part of this, let me know. I had some guys lined up for podcasts this week that fell through. But, life comes first. And we'll catch up some other time. So y'all take care. Thanks for listening. And cue the cow. Moo!